Hello, Teach Better family. My name is Katie Miglin, and I am so excited today to highlight some of our featured speakers for the Teach Better 22 conference, Stephanie and Tara. We are going to talk all about their exciting session that they have. I am very excited to hear kind of just the details of it, but let's throw some love in the chat if you're joining us this morning, and sit tight. We'll be back in about 30-ish seconds.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here, wow.
So we have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.
All right. Well, good morning. My name is Katie Miglin, and I am thrilled to be able to highlight Stephanie and Tara, who are two of our featured conference speakers. So good morning, Stephanie and Tara. Go ahead and let's start, because if people haven't connected with you yet, Stephanie and Tara, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Stephanie Howell, and I am an instructional technology coach in Pickerington Local School District. I also have been working very closely with Tara. We're in the same district, but we also have a podcast, Control the Chaos EDU, and we're currently working on a book. It should be published by the conference, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
I know, we're really excited about it. And I guess real quick, a story about me and Tara is, you're like, why is a technology and behavior person on this same wavelength? And because of that, I am really focused on blended learning in my district, and that's kind of my big push, and helping teachers kind of be successful with blended learning in their classroom. But the past couple of years, it's been very difficult, that blended learning piece, because of just some of the student behaviors, and some of the stamina and the executive functioning skills that are lacking. So that's how Tara and I became really good friends. And that's how you have technology and behavior together.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't think you could be more accurate on your description of current classrooms, for sure.
Yeah, and so we've been working really closely together. It's been helpful for teachers and students. We've been seeing a lot of improvements because of us collaborating together, and then going in and being able to co-teach and tag team different teachers and different activities. So it's been great. Personal, I have a son who is 2 years old. So he is fun and exciting. And then I have another one on the way and I'll be due in December. Yeah. So, and I have a husband. He is in the IT field, so he makes it all work, and I'm able to implement the instructional side. So it's all fun.
Very cool. Wow. You've got your hands full, a 2-year-old and one on the way.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. Very cool. Tara, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you.
So we work in the same district, as Stephanie has already mentioned. I am a behavior coach. So my background is elementary education, special education, and then I went back to school for applied behavior analysis. So we actually just gave ourselves a nickname recently for Bed Tech. So we're behavior ed tech, instead of like a STEAM, but we're bed tech. So behavior and tech combined together. And just one of those things that we realized was, strategies and resources, they go together. You can't just have strategies and you can't just have resources. You have to have those teaching components together. So Stephanie's like that resource guru, like have an idea, shoot it to her, 5 minutes later, it's done. And I'm like an idea person to put the strategies with the behavior ed tech or bed tech. So just a little bit of a personal background about myself is I have lived all around the country. I was born in New Jersey. I moved to Ohio. I graduated high school from Pennsylvania. I moved and went to college and played soccer in Georgia. And then I went overseas and lived in Ireland for a couple of years.
Cool.
And then I came back to North Carolina and had some medical treatment at Wake Forest there, and then back to Ohio. So a little bit of life experience has also helped me to
Mhm.
kind of strategize for human behavior, right? I've learned so much about human behavior and diversity through life experience, not just a textbook. And sometimes I think that executive functioning piece, like the emotional control, the things that we just learn about humans, has sometimes come more from life experience or just as much from life experience as it has from college. And
Absolutely.
and right now, just the background of me. So I'm going to be super excited to be there, just because every day that I wake up, I'm grateful to put my feet on the floor because I'm currently battling stage 4 melanoma, and I have 13 months of treatment that I'm doing, radiation, and I've had surgery this summer. So this summer I have battled and presented with Steph. Like, we've done like 5 different presentations, and so it's really exciting for me to be there because I just appreciate every day, and I continue to advocate and support, putting skills into schools that support not just the academic piece, but like a student's whole life, right? Because if I think about myself right now, if I didn't have the stress tolerance or the emotional control that I have learned through some of the behavior piece, I probably would be like this emotional, I don't know,
Yeah.
I would be at the bottom of the sea probably. So for me, these are very personal skills to teach and to talk about
Mhm.
because I see them being implemented every single day. So
Yeah.
super
I
excited to to share this to classrooms and other teachers.
Well, I think between the two of you, you touched on a couple things. I think it's really important that you spoke to the idea that you are using strategies for yourself, but then also seeing how important it is to then push out to other people and students and classrooms, which is so valuable because so often people are really great at speaking about things that maybe they've done research on, but there's not that personal connection like there is for you, which is, I think, really valuable. One of the things that I took away, I actually wrote it down, was you talked about strategies and resources and how they have to go hand in hand. And I think that's so important because one of the things you guys know with Teach Better Team, we are big on having those tangible takeaways, right? You can go to a conference and you're walking away with things you can actually implement, in a relatively short time frame. And I think that's so important that your session has that, and so that teachers can literally leave the conference and feel like they can do something that next week. So if you have not registered, make sure you head to teachbetterconference.com to register. But you have both kind of touched a little bit on some of the sessions, some of the things that your expertise, things that you talk about in your sessions. I'm so impressed that you've done several presentations this summer, especially all that you've got going on. But can you guys give us a little bit of preview of what your session will be about in October for people who are, kind of looking through the website and kind of seeing what is on the schedule? Maybe they stop and check out yours. What are some things that they can look forward to?
Yeah, so our session is controlling the chaos hacks.
Yeah.
And we are going to be talking about how to control that chaotic classroom that we've had after COVID. I feel like any teacher that has been teaching, it's just been chaotic the last couple years. So we have some strategies and resources that we have created because we were doing some research on like blended learning and executive functioning, and there wasn't a whole lot out there
Okay.
on the two. And so we started to create like our own resources based on like other research and activities out there to kind of make it more aligned with what we were trying to do. And so with that, we're going to be sharing different strategies that have worked for our teachers, and just making it less chaotic for them. And some of them now enjoy teaching again.
So the session, all the resources and stuff that we'll be sharing, we have 5 categories within the session.
Okay.
Standing operating procedures, which is like your classroom expectations, right?
Mhm.
Executive functioning, relationship building, transitions, and reflection. So those are
Okay.
our 5 categories. And specifically within those categories, right, when you think of standing operating procedures or classroom expectations, you think of like we only do that in the beginning of the year, right?
Right.
No,
Right.
absolutely not. You do not just do that in the beginning of the year. RTI, our kids that struggle, our reading and math kids, if you think, put that in perspective, right? Those kids are being taught different ways throughout the years. We're giving those support. So how can we support those behavior RTI kiddos throughout the year? How can we do classroom resets in January after extended breaks? It's never just the beginning of the year. And sometimes that's where we falter. And by the end of October, we have teachers that are pulling their hair out because like I taught them this in August. Well, when you teach them reading, do you just teach it once and then never teach it again? No, you continue to review those skills, right? So some of those personal stories will bring to light some of our fails. We do share a lot of our fails, so we hope that people can learn from them. So that's just one area, was talking about standing operating procedures. But within those 5 categories, I think that we have, I don't know, at least 5 to 10 resources per category. So you're really walking away with I don't know, probably 20 to 30 resources that are ready made between each of the categories that we'll share out after. We won't go into depth over every single one, but resources that are already created and that will briefly touch on some and then go into more depth on some of the other like some of the more utilized resources that we've had experience with. And every single resource that we talk about is a resource that Steph and I both have used in the classroom. So there's no resource that we have created that we're sharing without utilizing it or implementing it first.
Yeah, and it's probably been tweaked a couple times too after using it with different kids, or we're also able to share like this is like a roadblock that you might be able to see, which has been really helpful for teachers because like we're able to help them think like what's your procedure going to be if this happens or that happens, like what are you going to do? And so we're able to kind of help with some of those different behaviors as well. And I think along with that, we need to put a disclaimer because we are oversharers. And so the goal of the session is to leave with one resource. You might come and see a bunch of different resources, but the goal is to find one that you can use in your classroom tomorrow or the next week. And so with that, you're always able to come back to the slide deck and pick another resource when you're ready. But again, we are oversure, so that's our disclaimer, that there is a lot of resources and ideas in that presentation.
Okay.
There are 20, but just utilize one. That's all.
Okay. But I think that's awesome because then it gives people kind of a variety and they can pick what they feel like is manageable or what will work with their classroom. I love that you have people brainstorm kind of what ifs because that is so important when you're planning things, right? We've all been there where we like do this really cool activity or we heard about this at something and we go to roll it out and then it's like we have roadblocks or speed bumps and we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I think that's super important that you include those as part of your session so that teachers can really think through the whole thing so that when they're in their classrooms in front of students, they can implement it well. In your session, man, I was in the classroom last year. I was in one of those chaotic classrooms. I don't know where you guys were in October when I was struggling, but I am very excited for teachers to be able to get some help because, you know, we've been hearing for months that maybe this year will be a little bit more, dare I say, normal. And I think it's awesome that in October, teachers will be able to connect with you and get some resources and strategies so that they feel like it is maybe kind of back on track, as you guys said. So super, super cool.
And interesting enough, like when I look at my job as a whole, October is my busiest month of the year for behavior. So we have, so knowing that, like, this is a great time because, you know, September we have like and a holiday where we have a 3-day weekend, you're just starting to get into curriculum. So that honeymoon stage starts to wear off. And then October is like that first full month where you're into the curriculum. The testing stage is over. The honeymoon period's over. Now we have to really control the chaos, right? So, and reflection, part that restorative reflections, not thinking about just the academic reflections, but what are the behavior reflections too. And I don't know where you heard that rumor from that this year's going to be normal, but I'm going to believe you. And I'm going to buy into that right now. And we're going to go with that idea. So
I don't think it is.
Maybe it's just the definition of normal will be different this year. Maybe we're ditching the old definition and we've just adapted to a new one. Maybe that's all it is.
I'm so hopeful right now that you just said that.
Yes, I hope so. Well, and if nothing else, we had a couple years that were unlike any other year. And so we've at least been able to learn and, figure a few things out. And so even just being able to feel confident when we pivot again for the, whatever number of times we've had to do that, I think is really, really important. And like you said, October is such a kind of a heavy month. It's almost like February, it's like first semester's version of February. We always joke February was always really tough. But you're right. October it's like you're about a quarter of the way in, the dust has settled. And so it's awesome that teachers get an opportunity to come in October to Akron, Ohio, to be able to kind of swap ideas, reset, and kind of feel confident. Because I know that there were many times that I would have to post my mid-semester grades and I would have that moment of reflection, like, oh my gosh, what have we done in the last 9 weeks? It's like I'm still trying to figure this out. And so I think it'll be really nice to be able to come together and have sense of community. We'll be able to hang out with you two as well as many others. Again, head to teachbetterconference.com. You can find all the details. I don't know if you two have had a chance to go look at the website. The schedule's been posted, but man, it is a fire lineup, and it's going to be last week I was telling Stephanie, our team got together, and being just our team together in person brought so much energy and excitement. And I just think that times so many more people in Akron, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. So if you have not registered yet, please do so. There is tons of great people, sponsors, books being sold. I mean, there's so much information out on the website that you can check out to make sure that you snag a ticket to be able to come for this fun. So I am thrilled to have both of you there. I'm excited that you're excited. What is one thing you both are looking forward to for Akron, for the big Teach Better 22?
Yeah, the lineup. I mean, just the amount of educators and connecting in person. I've really missed that piece. Like we just went to ISTE and just seeing everybody, I already am ready to do it again.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man. ISTE was, my social media blew up with ISTE. So yeah, that's awesome. Tara, what about you?
I'm definitely looking forward to the social networking and building that professional learning network, right? Just taking all those resources in and building that personal connection as well. And, absolutely bringing Control the Chaos to Akron. I'm super excited about bringing Control the Chaos to Akron.
Yes, I could not agree more. I think, our conference is slightly smaller specifically for that, so that everyone can feel like they can make connections, they can have conversations. Those big conferences are so fun because there's so much energy and just educators everywhere, but also sometimes it's nice to have a little bit smaller to be able to connect with people, to, be able to actually talk. We've got networking events and all of those things that will make that happen. So absolutely. Well, Stephanie, Tara, thank you so much for joining me this morning on this bright Monday morning. What do you guys have in store the rest of the week? Any presentations this week?
I have a couple presentations, yeah, and we're doing some podcast recording as well.
Okay.
And we have a Control the Chaos presentation this week as well on executive functioning. We start bright and early, so this is we got a text message this morning. I'll just give you one example. We were working with another person in our district this morning, and she said, I woke up and I had 63 text messages from you guys. We started at like 5:30. So we always have lots of things that are going, whether it's planned or unplanned. That was completely unplanned this morning, that we just started working on the 20 days, first 20 days of PBIS. How to implement PBIS the first 20 days. So we're you never know. Like, we could say that we have things on the schedule, but it doesn't mean that that's really what ends up on the schedule as well.
Right. I get that. Yeah. Sometimes you like start your Monday with one plan and by the afternoon it's like gotten a different plan. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, good luck on your presentations. And thank you so much for joining us, for starting your week with us and being able to connect with some of our network. How can our the people watching, how can they connect with both of you? What's the best way?
Yeah, Twitter is probably the easiest way to connect with me. I'm at Mrs. Howell 24. Feel free to send me a direct message on Twitter.
Perfect.
And Twitter as well for me at Mrs._T Ruckman, or you can just say Mrs. Truckman.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this morning. And don't forget to head to teachbetterconference.com to not only register, but to get all of the information from registration to speakers, to bookstores, to even where you can stay in Akron. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.